Hey y'all, it's Zoe and welcome back to another video on my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you all about in-person versus online classes. This is specific to my program, just kind of my thoughts behind taking one over taking the other. So let's get into it. I did post a video about weekend classes, and in that video, I believe I talked about the in-person weekend classes versus the online weekend classes. I will say when it comes to weekend classes, I do prefer the online method just because sometimes it feels easier to just sit at home for 8 hours a day on a Saturday, Sunday than have to drive over to the building, but that's just a personal choice. However, when it comes to classes during the week, there have been times where I prefer online and there have been times where I prefer in person. For my first semester, I had one online class and the rest were in person. And I think for your first semester, that is a way to go where you want more in-person classes because it allows you to kind of build more relationships that way. My second semester, I also had pretty much all in-person classes. The only class I had online was one that was multidisciplinary. So they had like nursing students, dental students. So all of those have been online. I will say for evening classes, it is a lot harder to want to go in person. And for me, at least, it's a lot easier to want to do classes online. And the reason why I think is because of the way I set up my schedule, which was I do my evening classes after field. And so coming home from field to do a quick turnaround to then go in person to the social work building was a lot for me. So I liked the flexibility of the online class because I just had to log on to Zoom. I will say 6 to 8 online is a lot different than 8 to 10 online. 8 to 10 online can be really difficult, but if you have a good professor, then it'll be a good class. Like I had my researchy class online from 8 to 10 and it was a lot better than a class that is like that I find to be less engaging for me as an 8 to 10. However, I also know that for residential students, which I'm an on-campus student, we have to petition to get into online classes, and that is because there is an online program. I also know that if you're an international student, you have to take a certain number of classes in person. So I will say I have appreciated the flexibility to take online if I want to, but I do think there is a lot of benefits to going in person because you are able to make those connections and meet people, and it is a lot harder online. Professors try really hard by like putting you in breakout rooms and making the classes engaging, but obviously it's going to be different if you are in person. So that is pretty much how I feel about it. I think sometimes online classes also might give you a little bit more work than in-person classes because online tends to be a little bit shorter. The 2-hour online classes aren't that bad to me. I'm trying to remember if I've had a 3-hour online class. I think I did have a 3-hour online class. It was my first semester. It was a 9 to 12 online, but she gave us a lot of breaks. So even in an online space, they do give you breaks, which is nice. I think online is a lot easier when you are having a lot of different students from different backgrounds in different areas, so it's nice that that is an option. I also liked when one of my professors was more hybrid, so it's an in-person class but he gives you the option to join online. I liked that because if I ever needed to go to the airport, or if I was feeling sick, or I just didn't want to get out of bed because of the weather, I could still join in online and participate in the class. So I also liked being able to have that format as well. So I know this was kind of a shorter video, but if you have any questions for me about online versus in-person classes, just let me know. Pretty much moral of the story is in-person is better for engagement and getting to know people. But if you feel like your schedule is really rushed, or that you, like for example, one of my friends is commuting this semester, so she takes online classes. So online does have benefits if you have a schedule that's more busy, or if you work most of the day. So there's definitely pros and cons to each. I've enjoyed having a mixture each semester. Part of me prefers online because it's just easier for me, but I also do miss that same, like, you don't get the same form of connection that you do going in person. So that has just kind of been my experience with the different forms of classes. Feel free to share your experience or ask me more questions in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you all in the next video. Bye.